Alright everyone, I didn't know that waiters and waitresses made more than $400,000 a year, but people that make tips, waiters and waitresses, hairdressers sometimes, maids, laundry people, other various folks, they get tips. Either it's expected or it's, just appreciated. It depends on what kind of employee it is. People get tips in the United States. And some people in other countries, sometimes it's considered an insult to try to tip someone. Here it's not expected generally, but you do rounding, and it's appreciated if you give more. So like your bill is 45 and you're handing him 50 euros or so, 49 euros or something for some reason. You give him a few euros on the side. I tend to tip well because I'm from New England, and but we have a problem with tourists from Quebec for that reason in Vermont, because the tipping culture is definitely a little bit different in French Canada. The IRS is being expanded by the Biden admin, although the Republicans are seeking to block that. They should tie that in with the budget deal. Way to score a win with the American people is just refuse to bend, even allow a government shutdown to stop the expansion of the IRS. Be a good thing. Need IRS reform. I would just abolish it entirely, but I'd deal with a reform of the system, to make sure that the checks go out on time, but the audits are more scant. I think that would be helpful since it's weaponized and has been at least since the Obama administration. Lois Lerner, ring a bell? They're coming for the tips. Waiters and waitresses, tips included, do not tend to make $400,000 a year. The Biden admin promised that nobody's going to pay new taxes unless they make $400,000 a year or more. Now, we all know that that's malarkey. It's bullshit. What it's going to be used for is to politicize the IRS further and abuse political dissidents. This is why the IRS should not be expanded. At a bare minimum, that should be blocked. I find the COPE response, though, link in the description, archived of course, by the IRS, actually quite fascinating. It's copaganda, a little bit of a buzz term for you. Their COPE response is, no, we're not planning to go after waiters and waitresses tips. This isn't a rule. This is us considering a rule. Okay, so you're considering a rule that would impose a system in which corporations would be possibly voluntarily, although we all know that that wouldn't eventually be the case, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, cooperate with the IRS on tip reporting. So they'd have a system in place to, docket up the tips that the waiter, the waitress is getting, and release an end-of-year statement on that. It's definitely weasel words there. Because they're not claiming that they don't want such a rule. They're not claiming that they don't intend to impose such a rule. They're simply claiming, no, right now it's just a proposition, and we're putting it out there for public comment. So you can use the IRS official website, the only reason you probably use it at all, in order to comment on what you think of that new rule. I would say that American citizens should probably respond there and say this is a crazy idea and there's no point to it. You're not exactly going to recoup a bunch of money from people that typically, they're not even making a middle-class salary with the tips most of the time. You have to be one damn good waiter or waitress at this point to even fucking pay your rent. And some people are poor tippers, by the way. And so that's who they're really going after. This is just a shot across the bow moment. The IRS is planning to abuse the lower classes more. The majority of people that are audited are in that lower middle to working class zone. By the way, if you look at where audits are more profuse, there is a demographic tie-in that relates to urbanism. But we won't speak any further on that because for some people, for some reason, people conceive of that as racist, even though it has to do with inner cities generating more crime and criminals tend to cheat on their taxes more. Yeah, the dude who's already doing drive-bys, he may not have reported his crack sale income. Who would have thunk it? How did this person get $500,000 in their bank account when they've been unemployed for the last 3 years? And they're not a former member of Congress doing book deals and getting the Chinese to buy them in exchange for favors, so we know that they're dealing drugs or, they're a hitman or something like that. Money laundering they're a member of the mafia or something. Waiters and waitresses don't make $400K a year. But that's the first thing. As soon as the IRS expansion proposal is put forth, funded, although again it may be blocked, I hope that they do. The first major change that they say that they want to make has to do with fucking tipping. The liberals and leftoids out there who for some reason actually like the IRS now, maybe they like them a little bit less depending on the time of year, they've been hoodwinked. They were fooled. They were warned that they were being fooled by the Biden admin. They took the slogans in and they slurped it down like rainwater, dude. Oh, only people making more than 400K a year. Well, I don't make 400K a year, so I'm dandy about that. They're going after the evil rich people. Yeah, they're going after the people that are more likely to meticulously document things in order to use the Swiss cheese tax code to avoid paying more taxes, and who have private accountants. At the very least, they use a tax firm. They're not filling out their own fucking tax forms. You think I do? I don't make 400K a year. I don't do my own taxes. I don't take any deductions that I'm not 100% sure I can back up and I have the receipts for. I act out of an abundance of caution because I know if you get audited and you've skeeved 30 bucks off on your taxes to buy a fucking chocolate cake or something like that, okay, that's a problem. Getting audited sucks and you probably end up paying a fine. You're probably not going to go to federal prison for 10 years. If you're skeeving larger amounts and the more you make, the more you'd have to skeeve to make it fucking worth skeeving, then you get up into felony territory. So who is more likely to cheat on their taxes? Someone who's already involved in crime. There's some sort of criminal element to the money that they're making. There's something screwy is going on with their account. People who are goddamn ignorant, and people who are in the lower echelon, trying to get that maximized return. Well, yeah, I'm going to deduct the tires that I just bought for no reason. I'm going to deduct that microwave oven too, shitheads. Those are the people that get audited because they're the ones fucking around. They're doing their own taxes and they're fudging the numbers a little bit. They don't realize that the IRS does actually pay attention once in a while. And it's already a bunch of people get audited every year right now with an IRS that supposedly is underfunded and understaffed, and that's why we can't get your returns to you on time. Fuck the returns. Who gives a goddamn shit? Why not take people off the auditing staff, put them on processing returns, and that'll be quicker. Nobody should support expanding the IRS, especially not after this. And they're lying flat out. We don't intend to impose this rule. Then why are you even proposing it? Of course you intend to. Unless you get enormous amounts of pushback. And I'm here to tell you, even if they get a tidal wave of negativity, the press attacks them, the GOP uses this as a fucking campaign issue, and Biden has to take a step back, what will they do? They'll probably silently impose it later on anyway. They'll just delay it. They'll delay it a while. They'll change a few words around. They'll change what they call it and then resubmit it and then hope that it, next time people don't notice that it's there. That's what they'll do if they get expanded, if they have the capability of actually enforcing such a thing. Of course, if you're adding this to the IRS's docket, you will need more workers because you got to process all those tips. Those waiters and waitresses there, oh boy, they're making so much dosh, man. Yeah, six-figure waiter. What the hell restaurant are you working at? That's about all. Peace out.